Good evening. We'd like to call this scheduled meeting of the City of Greer Planning Commission to order. Boy, it's hot up here tonight. Mics are hot. Anyone on the commission would need to recuse themselves of any of the cases that are before us tonight. Please fill out a recusal form, and at the time of the particular piece of business, step down from the desk up here. Does that affect anybody tonight? That is really hot. Did y'all have new AV put in? Is that why we're a week late? You don't think it's hot? Maybe that's because your mic was in your face. Okay. All right.
Double dipping.
Double dipping. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Planning Commission minutes from our last meeting. That would have been April 17th. Everybody had a chance to look at them. Do we have any additions, submissions, discussion?
Move to approve.
Have a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Acerno?
Yes.
Mr. Lavender?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Mr. Holland?
Yes. Thank you. All right. We'll now move on to the public hearing portion of the meeting. During this time, we will open and close the public hearing for each request. We will start with the staff giving just the basic information for the request and the applicant presenting their request. Afterwards, anybody wishing to speak for or against the particular request will have an opportunity to do so. All speakers should come to the podium here. Begin with stating your name and your address for the record. We are recording in here audio and video. If you have not already done so, please sign in with staff to speak. We ask that everyone that is going to come up and speak limit your comments to 3 minutes. We don't have a large group here tonight, but if you're all together to speak on the same thing, we really don't need you to rehash if your neighbor has told us the exact same thing you're wanting to say. If you'd like to pick a spokesperson, that'd be fine too. So with that said, we just want to keep the meeting moving along so we're not here longer than we need to be. All right, so at this time, we will open the public hearing for AN 23-03.
The application number is AN 2303. The applicant is Scott Gillespie. The address is 813 Brockman McClyman Road. The parcel ID number is 534000001.00. The existing zoning is unzoned Spartanburg County, and the request is to annex and zone to R10 residential district. Here's a current aerial of the site. Here's the current zoning map. It is DRD, which is Design Review District. Saddlebrook is on the left, and Vines Creek is on the right. Here's the future land use map. It is traditional neighborhood. And here is a photo of the current conditions of the site. That completes that item.
Okay. Do we have the applicant present?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Scott Gillespie. My address is 702 East Washington Street, Greenville. And I don't know if you all had part of the packet that may have been delivered, but it was a plat of the map showing these, what I call it a sliver. I don't know if that's the appropriate term for the property, but it's a little corner piece, or it's a little tiny slice of, you have it? Oh, there it is. And I grabbed the wrong paper, so let me grab it right.
This is the companion rezoning. We'll do this item next.
What's that?
I was just letting them know this is the companion rezoning.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is a .04 acre parcel that's owned by Linda Kirby, and I am here on behalf of Linda tonight. I got to know Linda working on the 2 subdivisions. She's a very nice woman, and she asked me if I could help her out, and I said, I think so. And basically that little sliver that it was up there before, she has been mowing that and maintaining that area, because long ago, and I'm not sure the history, some surveyor said, no, your property pins out here at this point, which was 18 feet over from what it actually is. So she had a fence and she had grass and she had maintained that for many years, and she says, I'd like to square this up and not have to move my fence and, change my lot line. And I said, I will talk to Meritage, which was the owner of the property, and they had no problem with granting her that piece of acreage to kind of give her that area that she's asking for. So that's why I'm here. I'm on behalf of Linda. She's been a great neighbor, a good person to work with, and I like I said, volunteered to help her get this done.
All right. Thanks, sir. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against AN 23-03? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing for AN 23-03, and we will now move on to RZ 23-03.
The case number is RZ 23-03. The applicant, once again, is Scott Gillespie. The address is 851 Brockman McClyman Road. The parcel ID number is 534-00-00600. The existing zoning is DRD, which is Design Review District, and the request is to rezone a portion of open space to R10 Residential District. Here is an aerial of the site. Once again, current zoning is DRD, Design Review District. The future land use is traditional neighborhood. And here's a photo of the existing conditions of the site. And here's the survey of the portion for the rezoning. And that completes this item.
All right, Mr. Gillespie, you want to come back up here and talk to us about this part of it at all?
Yes, because you can't have one piece in the county and one piece in the city of Greer on the same lot. We're adjoining the two and asking for the rezoning. It was a suggested rezoning that we do to make it the lot all one zone, so that we don't have just that sliver rezone.
All right. Okay, thanks, sir.
All right.
All right, would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against RZ 23-03? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing for RZ 23-03, and we will open the public hearing for AN 23-05.
The case number is AN 2305. The applicant is Chip Buchanan. The address is 1253 Kist Road. The parcel ID number is 535-00-038.00. It's unzoned Spartanburg County currently. The request is to annex and zone to R20 Residential District. Here's a current aerial of the site. The current nearby zoning is R12 Single-Family Residential with Chestnut Grove to the north. The future land use is suburban neighborhood. Here's a photo of current conditions at the site, and that completes this presentation.
All right, thank you. Mr. Buchanan.
Yep. Chip Buchanan, Seaman Whiteside and Associates, 701 Easley Bridge Road, Greenville. So we are requesting to annex this piece of property into the city of Greer. We are requesting a residential zoning district, although the use is intended to be a charter school. So you can see on the aerial, she showed Kist Road bisects this piece of property. So the tract to the southwest is going to be a high school, charter high school, and the tract to the northeast is going to be a K-12 elementary school and middle school charter school. I have our land use attorney here as well. We're in the process of scoping out the project with SCDOT and Office of School Facilities. So we've gotten the traffic counts taken for the traffic impact study, had a wetlands delineation done, and understand that this, although we're requesting a residential zoning district, we do have to obtain a use by special exception for the school use. The first phase of this project will be the charter high school, so that'll be what we move forward with approval for from BZA after the annexation is complete, and then we come behind it for the K-8 school in the future. And happy to answer any questions related to any of those things if they are asked.
All right, that'll come up in just a few minutes. Thank you. All right, would anyone in the audience like to speak for or against AN 23-05? I have 3 people signed up, Matt and Stephanie Hasten.
Right, we are Matt and Stephanie Hastings. We live at 145 Braemar Knoll Drive.
Down here.
Right. Most of our neighbors here also live in the same neighborhood, and I don't know that we're for or against. We just came to get some information. Some of that has already been answered. We weren't sure which tract of land the school was going to be on. Now we find out it's 2 schools, so we have concerns. Obviously, traffic studies. Are there going to be any trees left over? Is everything clear cut? Are there going to be sidewalks put in? It's already slightly dangerous walking down both of those roads. Most of us go out there and walk our dogs down Kist, down Cox.
Yeah, and just the overall nature of the project. Is it going to be a clear cut where we're going to lose sort of our, private community where, we've got nature around us? Is, we're going to have buses coming in and out. Is Cox Road going to be part of entrances and exits for buses? Again, speaking to sidewalks and road widening and making it safe in our little parcel of community. That's important to all of us that are here. We understand and appreciate development and wanting to expand, but there's a certain element of the privacy of the area of which we bought, and we want to make sure that some of that is upheld in this project. So I'm not necessarily for or against, because I haven't heard the gentleman specifically speak or show any sort of plots of what this is going to look like in the future. How quickly is it going to start? We just kind of want to have an idea as to what we can be expecting from this.
How many students at each school?
Right.
Stuff like that. So that's all we've got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the call sheet was Paul and Lisa Dorka.
Yeah, that's it.
Hi, I'm Lisa Fedorka. This is my husband, Paul Fedorka. We're also in the Braemar Knoll community. We're 531 Cox Road. Stephanie hit most of our points. So Kist Road was just recently widened, so will that be widened again with this? Is there going to be busing coming to and fro? I think they hit on the projected time frame. What about the wetlands that are on the back of the property that's basically we're on Cox Road? So our understanding was that when that was surveyed, there was wetlands in the back part of that land. So does that have to be preserved?
So it's my understanding that it's presently in Spartanburg County, because our property is in Spartanburg County. Now, is this going to be annexed into Greenville County? Is that why we're here in Greer? Or I'm just surprised that I'm not in Spartanburg.
Well, the city of Greer sits right on the county line, and years ago, it was about 70% Greenville, 30% Spartanburg, but it's more half and half now. It may even be a little more Spartanburg now. But your county won't change, but the city would annex the pieces of property that are proposed if everything works out. But it would still stay in Spartanburg County unless something that I'm not aware of is going to happen, and I don't believe that will.
But I mean, will the school actually be in?
This is not a county change. This is to bring this parcel into the city of Greer.
Into Greer.
It's got nothing to do with the county. It stays in Spartanburg County. This is just an annexation. And a lot of these questions, so y'all, this is a forum for you to talk and bring points up. We're not going to really respond to you right now. The applicant is going to come up and respond later to you, and staff's going to give their opinion, and we'll discuss everything. So bring your points, and hopefully most of your questions will be answered later.
I think that's basically what we had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Sue and Larry Sinkulin.
Gentlemen, good evening, I guess, I know. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Larry Sinkular, Sue Sinkular, live at 541 Cox Road, directly across from the larger parcel. Proposed school, larger parcel. My neighbors and friends have covered most of our issues. I just want to come out against it, be on the record to say we're clearly not for this. It's directly across from where we purchased land and currently live. That when we did that, we checked to make sure the zoning would be residential and appropriate. We wouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing, and obviously because of the requested change, but exception, that's changing. So we want to come out against it. All the other points I think have been covered already. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a statement. I want to know why you would choose to put a major school environment in the midst of this subdivision when you have large parcels of land off of 101 and farther down towards Woodruff that have all the road structures already there. I mean, this is going to cause a humongous amount of disruption for traffic.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against AN 23-05? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing for AN 23-05. And that will conclude tonight's public hearing. We will now move on to new business. During this time, the staff will make the official recommendation for each of the items that are before the Planning Commission tonight. If we have questions for staff or for the applicants, we will ask those questions at that time. If we have questions of anyone in the audience, we will also ask those questions during that time. But there won't be any back and forth with the audience and the applicants and us unless we kind of start all that. So with that being said, we will move on to new business, AN 23-03.
Once again, this is AN 23-03. The address is 813 Brockman McClyman. The request is to annex and zone to R10 residential district. Here's the aerial of the site. Here's the current zoning map. Here's the future land use map. Here are the current conditions of the site. Once again, the request is to annex and rezone to R10 single-family residential. The surrounding zoning and land uses are predominantly residential, and staff recommends approval.
All right. Mr. Gillespie, you want to come back to the podium? And while he's coming up, let me also say that we are voting tonight to make a recommendation to City Council, either to proceed or not with these items that are before us tonight. So we don't make the final decision, we just make a recommendation to City Council. And with us meeting a week late this month, I'm not sure, will all this business go before council tomorrow night?
June 8th, not tomorrow.
So it'll be the first meeting in June, which will be here in this room, the second Tuesday of June. And they meet at 6:30. Okay. So if you have questions about the parcels that are before us tonight, that's when you would come back and talk to council. Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, sir. As mentioned previously, this is to combine the small piece with this, and you can't have one in the city and one in the not in the annex, and so we are combining the two and rezoning it to the residential use with staff's review and recommendation to us, to Linda.
There's no current plan to build a house or anything?
No, sir. No.
Just trying to keep a neighbor happy, I guess, right?
Yep. She's.
Y'all are going to just combine. Y'all going to combine the sliver with her trailer.
That's
give
correct.
it to her.
Yeah. Her son lives in the trailer. She owns all the properties there, and yeah.
Sounds good.
Any further questions from Mr. Gillespie or staff? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second? Motion and a second from Ms. Jones. Let's vote.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cerno?
Yes.
Mr. Lavender?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Mr. Holland?
Yes. All right, Mr. Gillespie, you can just stay where you are.
Okay.
At this time, we'll open the new business portion of the meeting for RZ 23-03.
Case is RZ 23-03. The address is 851 Brockman McClyman, and the request is to rezone a portion of open space to R10 residential district. Here's the aerial of the site. Here's the current zoning. Here's the future land use. Here's the survey of the site. And here is a photo of the current conditions. Once again, the request is to rezone to R10. The surrounding land uses are residential predominantly. The comprehensive plan is traditional neighborhood, and staff recommends approval.
All right. Mr. Gillespie, you have anything further to add?
I think I've pretty much covered all the basics.
I think you have.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval. Let's vote.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cerno?
Yes.
Mr. Lavender?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Mr. Holland?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gillespie.
Thank you.
Contact staff for next steps if
All right.
there are any. All right, we will now open the new business portion of the meeting for AN 23-05.
This case is AN 23-05. The address is 1253 Kist Road, and the request is to annex and zone to R20 residential district. Here's the aerial of the site. Here's the current zoning map. Here's the future land use map. Here's a photo of the existing conditions. Here's the survey of the site. And here's the proposed site plan.
Okay.
We'll come back to it. Let me just finish the staff presentation. The request is to annex and zone to R20 residential. The surrounding zoning and land uses are residential. The comprehensive plan is adjacent to a suburban neighborhood, and staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you.
If you'll go back one more slide, I've got a couple things written down of questions that were asked throughout the presentation. So you can see on there the dotted blue line is the delineated stream, and there are also some associated wetlands in gray that surround the stream. Those will be buffered and protected, and really the school has no intention of development in the northeast portion of the piece of property. That'll help. Thanks, well.
On the side. Yep. You see it? It's kind of a blue.
Yep. So this all of this area here will be preserved, as well as the appropriate buffers along the stream on the northeast side, on the school side. Similarly, the tract across the street also has a delineated wetland that we protected as part of the development. Go back to the site plan. So you can see this is rotate a little differently. Cox Road's down here. This is Kist Road. So traffic improvements, which will be finalized with the city staff and with SCDOT and OSF, will include at a minimum a left turn lane constructed in the middle, as well as deceleration lanes on both approaching entrances to the school. The Cox Road entrance is intended to be emergency vehicles only. The high school charter is 700 students. They do split sessions. They do 350 in the morning and 350 in the afternoon. And the K-8 school has a charter of 720 students.
I'm sorry.
720. Again, this is strictly for annexation. We understand that we do have to come back before Board of Zoning Appeals to grant a use by special exception. We'll go through the PAC process with all the departments to understand all of our permitting requirements. And then we basically will be permitting this with the City of Greer from a land disturbance standpoint and the Office of School Facilities for building permit and site plan approval. I believe that's all.
So with the new UDOs coming in, will there not be another category to put schools in, or will it still just be residential?
Honestly, I'd have to check, but
With it being 6 months out,
Right. I mean, I know we have to go with what currently, but this hasn't even been to PAX yet.
no, site plans are not required outside residential subdivisions for annexation and zoning. So this is a nice to have, but not required to have a layout.
One of the questions was about sidewalks. Will they be required to put sidewalks down both sides of the street?
Kist and Cox. Both sides of Kist,
Both sides.
their side of Cox, right?
all along the property
Front
frontage on Cox.
Yeah, front end.
Correct.
What kind of time frame are you looking at to get started on construction?
So I think based on kind of what we put together, we would be breaking ground sometime in the fall to go through, the annexation process and then to start the permit review process with the city. And their goal is to have high school students in August of '24 for the first session of class.
So the high school portion will be built first, and then
We'll approach this from a phase standpoint. So we will come before PAC with just the high school. The traffic study will incorporate both of the schools. So, I mean, things like the turn lane into the elementary school, the right turn lane, that would obviously not be built until the elementary school is built. But the road widening and the deceleration lanes into the high school would be constructed as part of this initial phase of construction.
So you said 700 students, 350 in the morning, 350 in the afternoon. They only go a half a day?
It's a model that's at a school in Myrtle Beach right now, but basically there is like a 30-minute window where there's no students, or maybe it's more. Brian, do you remember? It's somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour where there's basically a break. So they start a little earlier in the morning, like 7:30 to call it 11:30 or something like that, and then have an afternoon session, which is 12:30 to 4:30.
That's for the high school model?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the elementary school, which is what, probably 2025? Maybe?
At the earliest, yeah.
That's 700.
Yeah.
A full day?
The full day, yeah. And the way they'll be able to kind of make all that work is those, basically never have one of those schools starting at the same time as any of the other ones. So it actually kind of works out from a traffic timing standpoint to never overload the roads at any single point in time.
Staff, are there any privacy buffers required? I know a lot of time in residentials, there's privacy buffers
So
required.
the tree survey is part of the site development plan review, and then with the special exception, we can encourage a more robust buffer between the school and this existing residential, which we would recommend.
Will this come back through us if it gets annexed in, or is that, since it's not a design?
It'll go to BZA after the annexation.
And that's, going to BZA for a special exception for a school is pretty much standard anywhere in the upstate. Almost no jurisdiction has a by right school zoning classification, to your question earlier about.
I was just about to ask our esteemed former colleague, Mr. Brian Martin, if he had anything to add.
Just a couple things. Brian Martin, 116 West Church Street, City of Greer. Now, since I was last time. Yes, actually lived up the street now. Working to represent the developer that has property under contract to produce the school. A couple things I wanted to point out, particularly with regard to the traffic as it's coming through. Is that the intention is that with the turn lanes and the slow down lanes is to always maintain a consistent flow of traffic going through there. Even though we're adding these entrances, we've also specifically addressed the entrances matching up with the schools on both sides, and at the far side with the subdivision. Again, this access off of Cox Road would be for emergency fire access. So that would be a gated access. For emergency. And then the other thing that I wanted to add is that, the request zoning this is to R20, that even from the chance that the BZA did not occur, that something happened, this annexing it in the city and zoning it as the R20 is the same zoning classification, although not in Spartanburg County, as the properties that are to the south, that residential neighborhood. All of those properties are a half acre or more. And so the zoning request would be appropriate to match that zoning as well. Available for any other questions.
Okay, very good. I'm going to allow you to ask a question.
Thank you. Can you take this back one? Another one. My name is Robin Forrest. I live on 1091 Kiss Road. But go back another one, please. Okay. This little piece right here, these two little parcels, belong to my friend. What's going to happen to her house? If you want to make that road come straight across, how are you going to do that without disturbing her property?
So the actual road going across is up near the house that is being purchased. That's where the access is going to be up there.
Okay.
Nowhere
So
near
you're not
it.
going to disturb her property right there on those two parcels in any way?
No, ma'am.
Flip back to the site plan and
flip back to-
show her the two parcels, because you'll see them to the south.
It's a little, because they're turned differently, but you can still see the houses.
Okay. Those are her properties. You can see them there. And
Now,
you
ma'am,
can
if
see
you
them
want to walk up and look closer, you can. That's fine. But they can't do anything to your property if they don't own it.
I know it was right behind me and right beside me. Is that a lake?
She's blocked in right there.
This will be a detention pond for rainwater runoff that comes from all the parking.
What kind of looks like a track, that's the roads for the traffic circle for drop off and pickup and everything, and then that's the detention area in the blue. Yeah, that's the purpose of all of this is to get things surveyed, which is the slide before, if you flip back, Heather, the slide before is the survey of the property to make sure that there are no encroachments with the site plan. And so we've got the survey, and that's presented. So Chip takes the survey as the engineer, and he puts his plan on it. So there would be definitely no intention, and especially from a legal standpoint. There's the developer's lawyer standing right there. He definitely doesn't want to cross over your line, because then he's got to deal with you.
What about putting us in Greer city limits?
Well, you're not going to be in the city limits because we're not annexing that portion. Just the property in question here.
This would give you the opportunity to annex if you so chose, but there would be no attempt. There would be no attempt to come after you.
That's fine. The city is
Not looking
Not looking to annex your property.
Not in 20-plus years, probably 30 years, since the
Yeah.
city said forcefully, we want to annex
Yeah.
everything.
People that annex into the city come in because they want to, not because they're forced in.
Okay.
Okay? So, but you would have a direct line now. If you chose to annex, you would have,
Well, that just makes me sick, and I'm almost ready to throw up, because all that was my family's land.
Oh, no.
For 4 generations. So I'm wound up with it that really doesn't have anything to do with the family, and they sold it.
right.
That's all I'm gonna say, I'm against it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, do we have any further questions for the developer or for Mr. Martin? Staff?
Beauty.
We've gone a little leeway. I'm gonna let you, but you're the last one.
All I wanted to ask is if I could take a picture of that.
Yeah, sure. This is a public meeting. You can take all the photos you want.
Just don't take him with me.
Just don't take them.
Heather, will these slides be posted with the minutes on the website after this?
Yeah, we can add this to
Maybe just add these to the minutes.
They're having a little trouble with
Planning
the website
Commission
this week
page.
because I couldn't even get into it, but,
This.
oh, what, yeah, okay. Well, there's a public view for that also.
I wrestled with it, but yes, we can put this on the website where we have the
Posted
public
minutes.
hearing
Yes.
and the minutes posted, and yeah, and I can put this and I'll
If
write.
you would, please, for any of these folks that maybe couldn't come tonight.
Within the next week, give her some time.
Yeah.
And,
We can have that done in short order. I just want to be clear that this is a preliminary layout, and this has not been through
put
Planning Advisory
big
Committee.
red draft preliminary on
So
top.
we're only discussing annexation.
That's right.
Correct. So I just,
We're not discussing the church.
We're only discussing annexation. We're not discussing building designs.
Tell you what, scratch that, and if anybody would like to get a copy of this, ask staff.
well, no, I'm fine. It's public information. I'm happy to post it. We will be emphasizing preliminary. This has not been through Planning Advisory Committee. It has not been through special exception. Layout may change. So I just want to be clear to the audience that this is not the final layout at this point.
Our planning advisory.
Decision is for annexation, so coming into the city, and this board is making a recommendation of whether or not R20 zoning is appropriate. So, just a little caveat to the layout. Again, I think it's important, council asked for it too before second reading of annexation, so they did want to see it as well. But it's technically not part of the decision-making process for Planning Commission.
Okay, so do we have any further questions for the applicant or his attorney or staff?
And I actually believe, outright, they could build this in Spartanburg County without even in the city of Greer, so.
That's right. All right, do we have any?
Move to approve.
Questions? We have a motion for approval. We have a motion of second from Ms. Jones. Let's vote.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Acerto.
Yes.
Mr. Lavender.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And like-
Good luck. And folks, I just want to say thank y'all for coming and participating in the process. Council will be bringing this up on June the 8th in this room unless something crazy happens and they don't meet in here. But that will be when will they have second reading at that time? So you can come that night and, see what's happening next. But this is still very, very preliminary. That's just a draft. So, but thank you for coming and participating in the process. This will conclude our new business portion of the meeting. And do we have any other business?
Not for June. They haven't confirmed for July, so I didn't want to say anything. Sorry. Do we have any
Business?
updates?
No, the only update is I sent out an email last week that if you wanted to set up individual office hours to discuss UDO with consultant and staff as a follow-up to our February work session, I sent some dates. If we have overwhelming demand from both this board and our stakeholder committee, we'll send out a fresh set of dates. But right now, all of those time slots are still available. So if you wanted to schedule a time to talk to us in more detail, just reach out to me and I'll get you a Zoom invite link.
Were there any changes made to the UDO based upon our discussion previously?
So no, we haven't made changes yet. We're still in that fact-finding comment period. So this will be still opportunity in addition to the February.
In the schedule that I saw, that we're looking to get all this changed by the end of the year.
That is the goal. But as you know, it's been a long slog.
Right.
Yeah, so the current goal for adoption would be November, December.
So if you incorporate the changes that we suggested, how would we know those changes were incorporated in the...
So there weren't a lot of changes at that work session, but those are noted for the next draft. And so we'll be doing the public draft in August, and we'll re-release that to you guys as well.
Okay. They will be noted as revisions.
It'll just be a clean draft, but we can certainly do a matrix or something noting the changes.
Highlighted or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for the good of the committee?
Get more training.
Move to adjourn.
We stand adjourned.